It's outrageous, really, to think that Jesus can walk up to these fishermen and simply say, "Follow me." And we're told that immediately they dropped what they were doing and followed him. It's really kind of outrageous. When I hear the words, "Follow me," it brings to mind a few things. And the first thing that it brought to my mind when I was putting this message together 2 weeks ago, I can do a pretty good job, I can do a really good job of determining the chronology of my life, because we moved to Marysville when I was in the first grade, and we lived in 3 different houses there for a whole bunch of reasons that I won't go into now, but they're all good. And we lived at 206 North Maple Street, and I was in first, second, and third grade. So what I'm about to tell you happened to me when I was in first, second, or third grade. My cousin, Jim Skoda, was spending the week with us. Jim, God rest his soul, he was about a good 5 or 6 years, 7 years older than me. The story involves me, I'm going to say in the third grade, my brother Jeff, who is 4 years older than me, and my cousin Jim, who was about 6 or 7 years older than me. My family and cousin Jim, we went to the Ohio State Fair for the day. So now we're the setting is me in third grade, and it's summer, and we're at the Ohio State Fair. And I really looked up to my brother and my cousin Jim. And they didn't come up to me and say, "Follow me," but I did. I was their minion. I would have done anything for them. And so we did the Ohio State Fair, and my whole family went, but the 3 of us went off on our own, and one of the events that we experienced was the House of Mirrors. Okay? And so these 2 Christ figures in my life, I was following them, and the House of Mirrors is exactly that. It's all mirrors. Some of them are actual mirrors, some of them are distorted mirrors, and we got into the middle of the House of Mirrors, and what did my 2 Christ figures do to me? They ditched me. Right? That's what you do to the little third grader. You ditch him. They thought it was hilarious. When I hear the words "follow me," I think of a house of mirrors. Maybe life is like that sometimes. And I got lost. I couldn't find my way out. I was so embarrassed. I was so humiliated. And it actually got so bad that I ran into one of the mirrors and cut my forehead. Started to bleed. It wasn't that bad, but it was just enough to increase my humiliation even more. And looking back, I don't think I ever got angry. I was not angry. I was embarrassed. And so, obviously, I died in the House of Mirrors. I never got out, right? Finally, Jeff and Jim finally took pity on me. And they came back in and found me and let me out. When a sense of Christ comes over us and says, "Follow me," I offer up the possibility that at that point you lose control. We are no longer in control. I've mentioned to you before, and I'll mention again, the purpose of religion. I'm going back to book entitled Paths of Faith. That was my comparative religion book in college. I still have it. I still read it. And I've mentioned to you before, and I'll mention to you again, the introduction to this comparative religion book is the best I've ever read in terms of what is the purpose of religion. It compares world religions. And looking at it from 35,000 feet, okay, the purpose of our religion is to give us three things. It gives us meaning. Our religion is supposed to give us meaning in life. It's supposed to give us purpose. What are we supposed to be doing? And especially this morning, because we're talking about follow me, it's supposed to give us direction. And so we seek direction in our lives. And one of the ways that we can do that is to develop our moral compass. Each of us have a moral compass inside of us. This is my compass. I have a compass. And earlier this week, I came up and I practiced. I'm not that great at using compasses, but I've got one and I tried. I'm going to need my glasses here. Anybody want to guess as to where north is? Anybody? Yeah. Okay. Let's see if you're right. Okay. According to my compass, there we go. Right there. North. North. South. East. West. You know what I am right now? I am absolutely, completely in control of my life. I know exactly where north is. I know exactly south, west, east. I am in control, right? And the scriptures tell us that Jesus comes along to these fishermen and says, follow me. And we're told that immediately they dropped everything and go. Meaning, purpose, and direction. Here's some notes I wrote about inner compass. Our inner compass is a metaphorical tool that helps us navigate life by aligning our actions with our core values and intuition, guiding us toward authenticity and fulfillment. Our inner compass, an internal guidance system that helps us make decisions and navigate through life's complexities. Our inner compass has to do with self-awareness and intuition. I've been reading some theologians lately, and there's one in particular that said something so simple and so basic, and it's pretty much completely taken over my life. And he said, stop, I'm translating now, he said, stop looking for God out there. Stop looking for God out there. The only place you're going to find God is in here. And when you find God in here, then you can live accordingly and bring God out there through you. It's very simple, isn't it? Well, I've been trying it out, and it works for me. Maybe it'll work for you. Stop looking out there. Look in here. And one of the ways to experience that is to know about and feel our inner compass and trust yourself. That's where God lives, in you, in all of us. Follow that. And here's how we are in control, and then I'm done. Here's how we're in control. I've told you this parable before, and I'm going to tell it to you again now. It's an extra-biblical parable. Extra-biblical is a fancy way of saying it's not in the Bible. This is the parable of the moat. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, excuse me, there was a king. And the king was a benevolent king, and the king lived in a castle. And this is the parable of the moat. So around the castle was a great moat to protect the castle. And in the moat, to protect the castle, there were alligators, crocodiles, serpents, all kinds of frightening things that from time to time we call life. Now the king had a problem. The king didn't have any successors. The king didn't have any children. The king was getting on in years, so the king came up with an idea. And so he gathered all of the young men and women of the kingdom, and he gathered them all on the other side of the moat. And the king stood on the castle side of the moat. And the king announced to the kingdom, all you young people of my kingdom, if any of you have the courage to dive in that boat and swim to me on this side, if you have that kind of courage, then you will be my successor. And one day all of this will be yours. And instantly there was a splash. And into the boat, because we're a evolved congregation, our version of the parable is it was a young woman. Okay? So a young woman, into the boat she went, splash. Everybody was amazed. And then they watched as she swam as fast as anyone could swim through the moat, over the dangerous serpents and the alligators and the crocodiles, and somehow she made it, and she jumped up onto the other side, soaked and panting, and stood all were amazed, especially the king. Now remember, this is a parable about follow me. This is a parable about we're in control. And the young woman was panting, soaked, standing by the king, all were amazed, and the king said, my daughter, you did it. One day you will be my successor. All of this will be yours. Now until that day comes, what can I do for you today? And the young woman looked at the king and said, you can do one thing for me. You can give me the name of the person who pushed me in that boat. None of us asked for this. Not one of us asked for this life. None of us. We were pushed into it. We're pushed into this life. And our inner compass wakes up, that Christ within us, and says, follow me, and swim at the best you can. Yeah? Follow me. Amen?
Amen.
Amen.